It's Lili Hirata. I was born in Yakima, Washington, 1932. My mother's name was Mitsuno Mizoguchi because she remarried my father, and his name was Juichiro Kajiyama. He was a farmer. We were leasing a farm in Wapato. And I worked in a farm from when I was probably about 4 years old till we were relocated. I used to make cantaloupe and tomato crates and pack them. I used to go pick all the vegetables. I was kind of a tomboy, so I did a lot of work for my age, until we were relocated. I remember my teacher's name was Miss Higgins, and she liked green peppers, so I used to bring her green peppers from the farm. All I remember was my mother saying, well, we have to burn all things from Japan, anything that was Japanese made. We had a nice collection of Japanese dolls for Girls' Day. I remember that, and we had to burn those. And I don't know what else we burned, but I'm sure she got rid of a lot of things. But she brought a few with us. I thought it was rather strange, to have to burn things like that. It's because we couldn't carry them. You only could take one little suitcase with you. Only what you could carry was all you could take. And my mother walked 5 miles to town to get me a doll. I didn't know that she was going to do that, but she walked 5 miles to town, got me this doll and I named her Rosie. And so I carried it on the train, and I've always had it with me until I donated it to the museum, the Northwest Museum. And first we went to Portland Assembly Center, and I don't know how long we stayed there, maybe a year. It was just a little stall, it's a horse stall, and they had just a thin blanket on the door. And I think they had straws in the little cubby holes that we had to sleep in, and they had a big arena. So we used to go roller skating, and they had this kind of a steep hill, so we used to enjoy that. And besides that, we did a lot of jigsaw puzzles. But we didn't stay very long there, because then it put us in another train and we went to Heart Mountain. I can't remember if it was winter or summer when we got there, but the summers were very hot, the winters were very cold, and we had a lot of snow. And you could hear rattlesnakes if you were walking way out in the area where the barracks were not there. You could hear the rattlesnakes. I found it not scary. And they did have soldiers, but they weren't they weren't mean or anything. They just had to be there, I guess. But I was so young that to me it wasn't really a hassle. I kind of enjoyed us. We just kind of enjoyed ourselves. But I'm sure our parents didn't enjoy it at all, I'm sure. It was probably difficult for them. When you're young, those things don't bother you as much. But for the parents, I'm sure it was very painful. Yeah, they never talked about it, but I'm sure it was. We had barracks, and most of the Wapato and Yakima people were in Block 15. All of us were pretty much in Block 15. I think they had 29 blocks in Heart Mountain. We were right in the middle. And all it was a barrack. It just had a little stove that we burnt coal in, and I think there were a couple bunks or something for our beds. And I remember we had to put up blankets to kind of block off, like for rooms. We were allowed $12 a month, I believe, and you had to have a ration of coal, and we all had, of course, community bathrooms and community mess halls. The food wasn't very good, I don't think. And then we used to have our own private little parties, like dance. There'd be a kind of a rec barrack, and we'd go and have little dancing parties and stuff. I was only 9 when I went in, but I was close to 12 when I left, so I learned how to jitterbug, and I loved it, yeah. That was fun. we made many friends. That was nice. Like I have this friend from, they were in Block 8. I didn't really know her too well, but once we left camp, we started to write to each other, and we still do after all these years. And she sent me pictures recently of her while she was in camp. And then I went to visit her a couple times in LA. My brother Gooch left early. He came to Spokane. He fell in love and got married. And so when we got out, he had a place for us, apartment. So this is where we came. This is where we've been since. I married Sam Hirata. And then I had 7 children. But yes, there were a couple incidents walking to work. I walked to work every day. Some guy said, "Go back to where you're from." So I said, "Oh, you go back to where you're from." And one other incident, as I was walking by this McDonald's on Riverside, this guy said something, I don't know what it was. So I just walked right up to his face and said something to him. And he never bothered me again. But there weren't too many incidents. People were pretty nice to us in general. You know, I don't think too much about it. I don't think it was fair or right. But, you know, sometimes you just can't help it, what people do. I know I wasn't bitter about it. I don't think my family was bitter about it. We just let it go. Sometimes you have to. You know, being bitter doesn't help you. It just makes your heart worse, I think, you know.